Thank you to our sponsors for today's video, StarCharge, Nokian Tyres, and Amber. StarCharge is the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world and is also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage and microgrid solutions. This video is also brought to you by Nokian Tyres, a leader in safety and sustainability. Maximize performance and efficiency with their made-in-USA all-season tires and their dedicated Hakkapeliitta EV winter line from the inventor of the winter tire. Learn more at nokiantires.com/EV. This video is also brought to you by Amber. Amber offers a modern extended warranty for your Tesla's battery and more without the burden of long-term contracts or upfront payments. Check out the link in the description below to browse their plan options and get started with a free over-the-air diagnostic check. Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Welcome to a super exciting video. I'm able to now share with you the new Audi A6 E-Tron. It comes in two flavors, a Sportback and an Avant. Unfortunately, in the US, we're not getting the Wagon. Whatever we need to do to get the Wagon, let's get the Wagon. But anyway, in this video, I'm going to take you on a full tour of the new Audi A6 E-Tron. We're going to talk about the range, the charging performance, the interior software, some design functionality, lighting, that's market position, so much to get into, a full nerd fest. So by the end of this video, you will know literally everything I know about the Audi A6 E-Tron. We'll be going through the premium platform electric that it's built on, very similar to Q6 E-Tron, and of course, shared with the Macan as well. Like I mentioned, a full nerd video for you guys. So join me as we go for a full tour of the new Audi A6 E-Tron. Well guys, I am in Germany, able to share with you for the first time on the launch day, the new A6 E-Tron. Certainly you can tell aerodynamics were important. It's got, you know, it's pretty soft lines everywhere. It's got, it's got really good CD value actually. It's like 0.21 coefficient of drag, but we're talking about WLTP range of over 750 kilometers, which is well over 450 miles, something like that. In the EPA cycle though, my guess is we're going to see high 300s, maybe even touching 400 miles of range. No joke here whatsoever. The battery pack, the motors, it's all very similar to Q6 E-Tron and Macan. So I think I should just hit you with the specs right out of the way, right? It's about 94.9 kilowatt hour usable, so 95 kilowatt hour usable, 100 kilowatt hour gross battery pack, prismatic NMC chemistry here. I believe 8:1:1 ratio in terms of NMC as well. And it's got some really impressive stats. 270 kilowatt charging. We've already charged the Macan and like the same exact performance here. Incredible charging. It holds 270 kilowatts deep into the battery pack. It doesn't come below 200 kilowatt charging until 60% state of charge. I mean, we're talking about a fat charging curve. Pair that with the efficiency that you're going to gain in the Sportback A6 compared to Q6 and Macan, this thing is going to be an absolute road trip monster. So I really think this is going to be hugely popular with people who need to do long distance drives, especially here in Europe with charging infrastructure that is ubiquitous and just works really well. The vehicle that I'm showing you now, these are all European spec versions, and the car comes with two basic configurations. There's the A6 and the S6. And of those, there are three drivetrains. There is a rear-wheel drive variant, an all-wheel drive quattro, and the S6, which is the big boy, fast one, almost 150 mile an hour top speed. Should be pretty cool, 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds on that one over there, which is painted in this blue color. Looks very nice. So what I'm going to do is basically take you on a tour of this car front to back, but I'm also going to have some expert interviews. We have someone from the product marketing team to talk about its position, some of the highlights, and then I'm also able to, basically interview one of my heroes, the guy who's responsible for lighting at Audi. Of course, I'm always obsessed with lighting on vehicles, different functionality, cool stuff. There are so many lighting innovations on this car, so I'm going to skip over them pretty much in the initial walkthrough, the initial tour of the A6 E-Tron, because we're going to go through all of that in an interview. So let's start up front. Of course, styling, you have eyes. There's not much I really need to tell you about. We're going to get into the lighting, but you have this grille over here, which is always color matched to the body. I think it looks pretty good depending on the color. I wish they would offer a blackout version as well, but maybe that will come in the future. There is a front trunk. I'm going to show that to you right now. So let me pop that right here. So I can open this. Also, if you have the key on you, there's a trick. You can just swipe your hand across the front as well. I don't have the key on me at the moment, so I wasn't able to do that. But you can see here, there is a front trunk, a little storage cubby. It's not that big. Again, premium platform electric is a ground up battery electric architecture. I really wish they would have put in a bigger front trunk, packaged it honestly a little bit better for that, but no chance here. Couple different suspensions on offer. You can get a steel suspension with frequency selective dampers, very similar to like a Model 3 suspension now, where based off of the input, it can change the damping reactive forces. And so that means on like a secondary road surface, something where you have a lot of high frequency bumps, it can smooth those out, but then the car still maintains control over either a big steering input or something like that. And should be really interesting. Of course, Audi does suspension really well, so I'm very much looking forward to driving this car. If we look at Q6 E-Tron, that car being an SUV, very dynamic, pretty sporty. I'm expecting really good things here. You can get wheel sizes from 19 to 21 inches. These are on the 21 inch. It is a staggered setup. I think looks awesome. In my impression, these are the wheels I would go for. And like I mentioned, a couple things here. We're looking at Euro spec digital side view mirrors. We are not getting those in the US market, and no Avant trim as well. If we work our way down the side here, you'll see there's some door handles that have like a little electric latch on the inside almost. It's just a little pressure sensor, so no physical moving door handle. I think it works pretty well. Feels nice. Soft closed doors. I'm not sure if it'll be an option or standard. The car hasn't been packaged yet. The front seat is set pretty close to where I would sit, so I'm just going to do the back seat test. Again, this is a very quick initial first look. Great knee room. Okay headroom, I would say. Definitely just brushing my head on the roof here. So the Avant, no question. I just sat in the back seat of that. Has way more rear seat room, no question. I have a temperature control and air vents back here as well, which is wonderful, and even B-pillar vents. So from a climate control perspective, it should be pretty good. The only thing I would have liked to see in the Sportback, the sedan version, is more headroom. Just my preference. Just in terms of rear seat room in the Avant, at least, great headroom. The glass roof is very wide. It actually has this auto dimming function. Again, the lighting in here is so terrible. I really apologize. But you can break the glass roof and dim it in certain sections. So again, I can't wait to get the car outside to experience that one day. But certainly seems cool. Nice little ambient lighting in the doors coming around, creating a nice ambiance as well. But the seat is nice and low. You really sit low in this car. The floor is quite high though, so my knees do come up high. So for long distance trips, it's one of the downsides of an electric car. The floor is not really scalloped. Like Taycan in the back, they removed some modules so your legs can sit lower. Here, they obviously kept every bit of the battery to give it as much range as possible. Apparently, there will be a standard battery on offer for the A6 e-tron some point in the future. They're going to remove 2 modules. I think it goes down to like 85 or 86 kilowatt hour usable. And I'm not familiar with that battery pack. So that'll be new when it happens. If it happens, if we get it in the US, probably not. I would think we only get the big battery. But anyway, back to the topic of the rear seat. Plenty of room. Nice little center console comes down here with 2 cup holders. Certainly enough for kids. And yeah, so if you're taking another couple out to dinner or even doing a long trip, I think it should be fine. The only complaint I would have is the high floor. And I have air vents in the back and USB-C ports, so I'm good there as well. If we take a look at the charging port, there's 2 of them, one on each side, power only. Power only. And it's really slow. You're going to be sitting here waiting to plug in, like, come on, open. At least in Europe, only 11 kilowatt onboard charger, not even available with 22 kilowatt, which is rare and not so great. I would have loved to see higher capacity AC charging. And then again, 270 kilowatt DC charging. They have not released the specs on the AC charging for the US market cars, but my guess is 9.6 kilowatt, 40 amp. It is a limitation that the Macan has this one as well, but it's still enough to fully charge your car at night in the garage. So I don't think it'll be a big issue. Audi recommends charging this vehicle to 80% maximum for daily usage and then 100% for long trips, of course. And I've already mentioned the DC performance is crazy. In terms of trunk space, take a look at this. Pretty good. We have a pretty deep underfloor storage. If you look here, by pretty deep, I mean not pretty deep. I don't know. There's a couple things here. We've got a Type 2 charging cable, spare tire, and subwoofer. I mean, it does go pretty deep, but it's just filled up with stuff here at the moment. But still, enough room if you were to take some of this out for an extra little carry-on bag, if you will. Something like that. Power-operated liftgate. I really do like that it is not just a traditional sedan and you get a liftback. The A6, in my impression, has always been the quintessential Audi. It like has to do everything. It has to just be premium, has to not be annoying to drive, just a nice car. And I think, at least in terms of design and interior, they've definitely matched that. I'm going to walk everyone through the interior and software here in a little bit, but I just want to show you the Avant, the wagon. This is the one I really want. And of course, I mean, I spend a lot of time here in Europe, so I'm sure I'll be seeing these on the road and around, but man, this thing just looks so cool. I should also mention, I'll take the opportunity to open up the secondary port, which takes a while. This one just has a regular Type 2 connection on this side, just for AC. The reason these are so large, I think, is because the Chinese market sometimes has 2 plugs next to it for GBT and maybe Type 2 as well. So, you know, it's a global vehicle. Some of these are compromises, but I just think this is really silly. And I do not like the charge port doors at all personally. That would drive me insane. But other than that, take a look back here in terms of the space on the Avant. Wow, really nice. Love the lit Audi logos in the back as well. Great trunk space. You know, it doesn't seem too different in terms of the cargo space between the two models. It might show up on paper as a huge difference, but just looking back here, I'm actually impressed at how similar the Sportback and the Avant are. In terms of range and efficiency, they're pretty close as well. To me, I'm always a fan of a long roof. This is clearly the choice that I'd like to see. And I think maybe we'll even see a spicier version of these cars into the future. Right now it goes A6 and S6. I'd really love to see an RS6, something really electric and powerful. But of course, we have to start with the standard series production cars. Right now here on offer, at least, they have 2 interior colors. This is the light color interior. There's also a dark one, but we'll see what the US product offering is when it gets to that point. I'm sure they'll have like a premium, premium plus, and prestige level similar to the current Q8 e-tron. Time will tell. But overall, that's just a quick exterior tour of the new Audi A6 e-tron for you. The S6 looks identical, as you can see over here with these cars. I'll just show you a couple little differences. You can option black or red brake calipers on these. You get this sort of contrast brushed aluminum look around. And of course, we'll go through all the technical details back at the office where I run you through PPE, the high voltage architecture of this particular vehicle. I'll show you some charging performance graphs as well. And of course, we need to talk to some of the folks here at Audi about their responsibilities. So let's get into some interviews. Let's get into some technical stuff. I'll take you on a full software deep dive, and then we'll wrap up the video. Well, you guys join me inside the A6 Avant, and well, I want to walk through basically a full interior tour for you guys. So I think we'll first look at all of the hard buttons. What can you do? And then we'll go into the screens. There's a lot of software to dive into here. So let's go through everything. So first of all, you have your 4 window switches. They feel pretty good. There's a detent. We have double pane glass, which is nice as well. Seems really solid, really quiet in here, as you would expect from an Audi. So over here, we have unlock and lock. You have your poor weather light, which is essentially similar to like a fog light, gives you a little bit wider beam of light view there. You have your headlight selection, rear fog, mirrors, so you can fold your mirrors like that, okay? But then what does this button do? Let's find out. No clue. Maybe that's the dip for reverse, perhaps? It's the only thing I can think of at the moment. And then you have 2 seating positions that you can set and a child lock individual for left and right. This one has the just over 800 watt Bang & Olufsen sound system in here. I'm not able to really test it today just because we're limited on time. I don't have time to hook up my phone and do all that stuff, but as soon as I can test it, I certainly will. Down here we have 2 USB-C ports, a 12-volt power socket, a old school start-stop button. I have to ask if you can just get in and go, because with Macan, they have the backup start button, but you don't have to use it, and this is a similar platform, so that's certainly interesting. There's also a kick-down switch at the end of the accelerator pedal. I'm not sure why, brake-by-wire there, which is kind of interesting. So you have your drive select mode right here, which you have individual, dynamic, comfort, and efficiency. You can also change your suspension height in there. If I'm a little bit quicker, let's pull that up. I can drop the suspension. Nope, you can only raise it, but if I go to dynamic, there we go. Now it'll drop one. So I can come back to individual, and we can choose steering, air suspension with damping control. I wish you could separate that out, where you could go like dynamic and lower the air suspension, but keep comfort damping. There's the sound, because we're in the S6 variant, so you can basically turn that off, I would guess, in comfort, which is probably how I would do it. You can adjust the driver assistance response and the virtual cockpit layout. So that would be like these displays right here, and efficiency, balanced. I just see some things changing over here. Okay, interesting stuff. We have then our hazard lights, which even lights up with the digital light here in the dash. Okay, cool. And then we've got traction control. So you've got, let's see, ESC on. I can click it once, and that will go to like an ESC Sport. And then I can push and hold, and it should go ESC off. Let's see. Boom, there we go. System updated, ESC off. Nice. Interesting beeps and bongs, different than I've heard before in an Audi up to this point. So that's pretty interesting. You get your volume knob, which doesn't have that much weight to it. It's nice, but it's a plastic knob rather than a metal knob. So I kind of wish that was a metal knob, but you can push it to the right and left to go forward and back a track. And of course, close or twist it for volume up and down. And then you push to shut everything off. Here should be all of our safety functions. So we have fatigue warning, distraction warning, and I guess this would bring up favorites in terms of, there's so many safety functions, you can even set favorites. So that's pretty interesting. We have, oh my goodness, look at all of this stuff. Distracted driving warning, distance warning, and a bunch of different options here. Different ones for lane assist, adaptive cruise control with lane centering. So this is where you would add it to a favorite, I guess. Speed. Wow, so many different options. Active front assist, rear turn assist, emergency assist, and then efficiency assist and traffic light information. This is one of my favorite features of our E-Tron. It will tell you how long the light will be red for and when it goes green. So I really use this function a lot. I think it's really wonderful. So that is a ton of assistance. That's like, I mean, do you even have to drive at this point? So yeah, now we have link lane guidance as a favorite. So I love that they give you your favorite options here because there really are so many. If I hit this button, this should pull up our cameras, which we have like pull away, drive off support. We've got a really wide view, holy smokes, of things out in front of us. That is pretty incredible, I have to say. And we've got some lane lines. Very interesting. So you can unpark and park with this, but is there a way to see other camera views? That's automatic braking. Here's our 360. Yeah, and this is where I can like go around and select which camera view I want to see from. So you have your rear side, front side. The camera quality doesn't seem amazing. Really would like to see higher quality cameras in here would be my preference, but lots of different options here. Automatic display of parking space search, pretty interesting for sure. Okay, so then you have park, reverse, neutral, drive, and B. B activates the one pedal driving mode. Yes, this car is one pedal driving, which is great. 2 cup holders. Here is the key. The key is nice. Unlock, lock 2 times for the trunk. Pretty basic. This one being the S. Maybe the Sport line also has this as well. It is badged on the back as such, but it's a nice key. It's a little bit light. I need to ask if you can use phone as a key. I don't think so, but that is definitely something that I would like to know and I am curious about. In terms of in here, we have some prototype off switches, but those would not be on the standard car. So that's pretty neat. Really loving this light color interior because you get light seats, but everything else is dark. And that's how I like an interior to be personally. This is really nice. So in terms of all of this, yeah, really feeling nice. Door pockets down here feel good. There's like a nice little open area with a wireless phone charger in here. Overall, the interior has manual vents. I like those, just being able to put them right where I need them to be. It's great. It's really bad filming in here just because of the The lighting is rough, but here we go. So now I've got a couple different views that I can pull up on the infotainment cluster. So we've got lap times. What the heck? This is an electric Audi Wagon, and we can pull up lap times. So here, if I click this side, I guess I can scroll through all the different functions on the left side, date and time, recuperation, settings. You also have paddle shifters that I can go like 2 main settings here with those. And then there's also an automatic recuperation somehow you can get into, so many different ones. So really interesting that you've got your trips. So that's all good. And then on the right side, if I go here, this is where you can choose telephone, nav, media. And then in the center, I don't think there is a way I can change. Now, the one thing I don't like are gauges that go up and down. I much prefer having, you know, round gauges. So perhaps there's a way to do it. I know in our E-Tron there is, and I really hope there is here as well. This is how you can tie the active lane centering with your cruise control stock down here. So distance, limiter, you can turn it on and off all there. And there's also the head-up display out in front of me. That seems huge. Okay, on the right side of the steering wheel, you have heated steering wheel, volume up and down, track left and right, and then you have a programmable hot button right here that I can, I think, push and hold to change the programming. Maybe not, but either way, you can program this button to do a variety of functions, which is great. Speaking of which, let's do a software dive. One of the most important part of the vehicle is going through software. So the HMI, the infotainment, is running actually Android Automotive. I'm not sure what software version it is, but this is Android Automotive based software, and it does some pretty incredible things. However, the electrical architecture is what's called E-Cubed, and it's on the generation 1.2 of E-Cubed, and there's a lot to go into in terms of that. Now, this is all ahead of the Rivian software architecture that will kind of come into the next generation of products. So it'll go E-Cubed, and then whatever the Rivian Volkswagen Group joint venture is to come in the near future by maybe 2027, 2028, something like that. So first of all, we have our home button, which has a configurable home page, with a bunch of different options here. And you can basically customize these widgets to do whatever you want. There's also a voice assistant that apparently is ChatGPT, natural language, insert buzzword here. It's got it. So I think that's interesting. Maybe something to play around with when we spend more time with the vehicle. But let's just run through all of the sort of bits of stuff that's information. Now, of course, from my perspective, having an electric car, having good route planning is one of the most important things out there. So the first is, can it show you what charging power there is? I love this. 300 kilowatts, 350 kilowatts, 300 kilowatts instantly shows me what is available out in the public. The other thing is, let's say we want to go on a road trip. So if I want to go from here at a studio just outside of Munich to Lisbon, let's take a look, and I'll go to Lisbon Town Center. Now, this particular car is offline. It's not connected, so it's going to do all of its route planning, I guess, in the vehicle. I tried it in the other car. Maybe I can show you guys that as well. It was literally less than a few seconds, and it had the whole thing mapped and routed, and I was really impressed with that. But this is what's good. Let's turn you off. Yeah, so this is definitely not connected. Not the experience that I just had in a connected car. In the connected car, it was like, bam, it was just as fast as Macan, which makes sense because this is probably using the same logic as Macan. But there's some cool settings in here as well, that if I go to charging settings and the E-Tron route planner, I can do minimum charge level for charging stations down to 2%. Look at that, proper out of spec level arrival. That is confidence. And then at your destination, you can set whatever you want from 2 to 90% arrival. And I think 10% is probably fine. Whatever we want to leave it at. That's cool. There's a pre-series car, probably won't ever be driven, to be honest. This is just like a little static car, but how cool is that? Really good EV route planning. And again, you have to give this one a pass because it's not connected. It's not working. It says offline, whereas one of the other cars is connected. So that's the navigation system. Let's see what else we have in here. We have radio, telephone, CarPlay, Android Auto. We have car settings here. This is what I'm curious about. Warning tone of speed is exceeded. Maybe you can even, oh, that's what you can put to the wheel button. In Europe, there's a regulation, it might be coming to the US, that it will yell at you if you go over the speed limit. So you may just want to tie that to the steering wheel button here, which would make a lot of sense. So inside the car, you have a general brightness of the entire 3 displays. So the passenger display, central display, and the driver instrument cluster that you can choose from. We have interior lighting, exterior lighting. Wow, so much. We have different color ambient lighting to choose from. Okay, interesting. Drive select. Green, there we go. So I had it linked to drive mode before. Yellow, white, and everything will adjust around the whole car to whatever mode that we want. A lot to learn here. Anyway, lights, you have exterior lighting where you can choose like the different sequences. So I showed you a little bit of that. And then we have some servicing, okay, no issues. And more settings, central locking, keys and VIN, steering wheel button, driving school mode, interesting, air suspension for a trailer, air suspension wheel change. This one has an output power of 370 kilowatts. This is where you can see your power level of your car, or maybe it degrades over time. I don't think it actually does. You have virtual cockpit brightness, which is great. We've got head-up display settings, and then what you want it to display. You can have it display a bunch of things up in there, which is pretty cool. You can even play games by using the paddle shifters to go up on the head-up display and this screen here, which I think is pretty cool. So they're getting fun and interesting. Brightness levels, and you can choose a standby design for different designs if you want. So like, wow, what a difference that makes right there. I think I prefer that one. Okay, so that's some settings. Charging, this is important. Battery pack temperature. I love that it shows you average battery pack temperature, and it lets you set a charge limit from 50 to 100% in 5% increments. If you set it to 80%, then you're good to go. And I believe this has a similar function to Macan, that if you park it by accident at 100%, it'll actually self-drain down to 60% plus or minus for long-term storage. Again, if you're going to store your car, they always recommend keeping it as low as possible, and the recommended use is all the way down to 0%. So they want you to really use this battery. You can set some departure times. I believe in the US it only has a 40 amp onboard charger. You have some fast charging situations, and it will automatically precondition on the way to a fast charger with the route planner, and of course have plug and charge. So really, really great functionality there. Again, I think industry leading route planner, and I'm just so impressed with that overall. We've got some more settings in here. Let's take a look. Sound settings, anything interesting in here for our sound system nerds? Man, so we've got balance and fader, surround sound. Okay, some good stuff. Surround sound via passenger seat head restraint. Again, there's 2 speakers in each headrest with the top spec system for the front seats, which is pretty cool. Display, yep, same thing we were just at before. There's no seemingly back button at this point, so I actually have to go back here to settings to get out. Function on demand for system downloads and updates. This vehicle does support over-the-air updates, by the way, I should mention, and they plan to update it. I don't know what that means, but it means that they'll do quite a bit. And there is a digital key for your phone. How about that? So that's great. Use your smartphone as your key to unlock and start. So that answered our question. Really glad to see they're using a smartphone as digital key. I think it's such an important part of car ownership. So there you have it. The seats are pretty firm in the S-Line, but very comfortable, I would say. Feels very Audi. No complaints from my side. Plenty of room just sitting in here. Very comfortable. Really liking the interior space overall. This seems like a really nice car to go on a road trip in, no question. Well, guys, you join me here with Thomas, who's really the guru and knows, I would say, more than almost anyone about the A6. So Thomas, welcome.
Thank you for coming by.
Yeah, of course. This is really great. We, of course, have an A6 and a Sportback as well as the Avant. Are those the technical names? How are you calling them?
A6 Sportback E-Tron, A6 Avant E-Tron.
Okay, because with Audi, you never know in which order to put the names. So walk us through the highlights on this particular one. You have huge range, huge charging performance, lots of long distance capability. What are some of the highlights that we should know?
So over 750 kilometers of WLTP range. The EPA value will also be best in class. They are still pending though. Lots of stuff that you already know from the Q6 e-tron being on the same platform, on the premium platform electric. But we do have some specific stuff on the A6 e-tron that the Q6 does not have. For example, while we're here, we have a comfort function on the front of the car. You just swipe across where the rings are. And you're able to open the front without going inside and pulling the lever. We have 27 liters of front volume in the front. which is enough for maybe a charging cable or some hiking boots, something that dirty you don't want to throw into the back of the car.
Yeah, I'm glad you at least left something here. I mean, it's great just to have the option, like you mentioned, charging cable, especially in Europe with a Type 2 cable. You got to carry it somewhere. This is perfect for that.
Yep. And we have a pretty similar function in the back of the car. I think the comfort opening of trunks is something that you already know, but oftentimes people can't really find the right spot to open the trunk when they come close to the car. So now we have a projection light on the car that comes down and shows you exactly where to open the trunk of the car. Opens up nice and comfortably. You have your groceries maybe with you, don't have your hands free, and the same idea when closing the trunk. You do have to move away from the car so it doesn't hurt you.
Okay, very cool. So also notice just overall the size of the car. How similar is this in Q6 in terms of length and width?
Similar to the current A6 combustion car. It is a little wider than the current A6, but very similar in proportions.
But then the Q6 on the PPE platform, is this the exact same wheelbase?
No.
Okay, so
No.
slightly.
This is a little larger, and the car is also a little longer than the Q6.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think overall the design of the car is really great. You seem to have sort of, I would say, definitely hit the target in terms of a range number. But as a lot of our audience are EV drivers, range almost doesn't matter in our case. It's all about how quickly you can get back on the road after recharging. So I want to compliment you as well, because I'm going to show the viewers in a little bit. I went inside the car and tried the route planner.
Okay.
And I put in Lisbon, which is not close, I think 2,000 kilometers plus or minus. And within 8 seconds, it had a route plan completely calculated out. And then it also gave me the option to choose my state of charge on arrival at the charger, down to 2%, which is awesome, out of spec level road tripping, and then your destination separately. How much work was put into the long distance ability of this car? I mean, was that really the main topic for this one?
Definitely. Apart from the efficiency of the car, charging power, obviously, these things combined, you're able to charge 310 kilometers of additional range in just 10 minutes, according to WLTP. This is definitely a focus of this car, and is a big pro, even versus the Q6, which is also very efficient, but the focus was put on long distance travel, efficiency, and long ranges in the car.
So if you have to go long range and bring the family, this is the one, but we're not getting this one in the US. What do we need to do to make this happen? How do we get it?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Yeah. But in your impression, the Avant, the long roof version, who's going to go for this one versus the Sportback?
Like you said, families that want a little additional trunk volume in the car, the additional headspace in the car, that maybe doesn't want the extreme sporty look of this car and wants the more the utility of this car. And
in terms of the range hit, this one, obviously it's not going to be as aerodynamic as the Sportback is. What's the rough hit going with this one?
Do you mean the...
Like the reduction in range going with the long roof?
According to WLTP, it's around 25 to 30 kilometers less range because of the body style.
So less than 10% difference.
Yeah.
That's not that big of a deal then. And you offer different wheels as well on the topic of range. These are the 21s, but you'll go 19 as well.
Yeah, it starts with 19, goes all the way up to 20. The S model will actually start at 20 and go up to 21. And as soon as you order S line on the A6, it will also come with a 20-inch wheel.
Okay, cool. And the ones for ultimate range are, of course, the 19s, I imagine?
Yes.
Okay, but you mentioned, I saw the wheel designs. Maybe we'll be able to get them in this video. They all seem to be somewhat aerodynamically optimized.
Yeah. Yeah, they are aerodynamically optimized, but they look great at the same time. So they don't look like discs or anything. They look very attractive, but focus was put on aerodynamics as well.
Well, I can't thank you enough for joining on this video. Of course, there's so much more that I'm going to get into with the audience, but if we had to leave the audience with one impression from your side, is what should be the main takeaway when they think about the A6 e-tron? What should come to their head? What should be the main point?
Aerodynamics, efficiency, and design all in one package.
Cool. Well, thank you. Really appreciate you coming on the channel.
Thank you for having me.
Guys, I have a really cool guest for you for this segment. This is Michael. He's responsible for lighting at Audi, which of course Audi does some of the coolest lighting in the business. And because we're all nerds and like all the matrix crazy functions, there's so much more even coming to the market. So you're going to give us I think a really cool overview of where Audi is with lighting in general. So thank you and welcome to the channel.
Nice to meet you. Absolutely great. Yeah, you know, Audi is totally crazy about light. So we started quite early with LEDs. We did everything with OLED and laser, and now we're really working on the technology to bring it to a next level. And this is where we put the digital. So we put digital daytime running light, digital OLED second generation. So this is all what you experience in this car. This is what you can see here. So this is this area where we have a lot of segments you can address individually to really change the appearance of the car. It still looks like an A6 E-Tron, but you can make it your own car by just changing the daytime running light. And this is the magic. You can do this in the MMI later on. You can also at least preview everything on that in the mobile phone. So this is what we are working on.
Oh, so
and
even
this
a
is
mobile
the magic
component.
happening. Exactly.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
You know, but on the other hand, we have to still fulfill legal. So daytime running light must be bright enough to be seen at day. And that's the reason why we have some limitations. So we cannot cut off everything here and put just light outside. So this is really something we have to respect from regulation, but our designers, they find a way to manage both regulation and a nice looking design.
I have a feeling in the next few minutes we're going to be talking a lot about different regulations and different markets, but before we do that, Thomas is in the car. He's going to actually hit all different lighting signatures.
This is what you can do. You have the preview inside, so Thomas is just switching between the different signatures you're getting in the front and of course also in the rear.
This is the first of how many do you have? Or I guess we're running through them.
In total we have 8. So 8 signatures, exactly.
How many meetings did you have to decide on the 8?
It took some time. So normally you finish when the hardware is finished, but now our designers have some capabilities to continue and just send us the data we have to upload in the car.
Yeah.
And I can tell you they're already thinking about the facelift, so they have not stopped talking about that.
So they're just constantly different lighting, making sure
they wake up in the morning and they have a new idea. So when they talk to us, is this legal? So, yeah, maybe we could give it a try, and then we can talk about what to do with that later on. So that's the idea.
Amazing. So out of all of the 8, I mean, you're really the head of lighting here. So you have to give the recommendation. I know a lot of our viewers already are looking to purchase this car. So which one do you recommend they use?
So for me personally, the magic is the Signature 3, because this is what we call the active digital light signature. Especially when we go to the tail lamp, you will be boosted when you see what's happening. It's a little bit of a night rider effect while driving. Yeah. Unfortunately, this is not allowed in the US, so we have to have a steady burning application. So that's the reason I like the Signature 1, because it's giving you the most sportive character if it's static. Yeah. But of course, we are working on getting the active digital light signature in the future also to the US market. Yeah, so we're gonna look in the rear in a minute, but I also want to talk to you about the main beam and the high beam technology. So you have a split lighting system here, which is becoming more common in automotive design. It is. What's your preference on a split system? So in the end, it's really to differentiate between how the car looks in daytime at night. At night, you need a good low beam system because you want to have light on the road. Otherwise, you will not speed up. You would even start driving a car if you cannot see anything in front of your car. So it's really to split it so that we have here something for the day and keeping everything in the dark as long as you need it. So to really have more a functional design, to say if it's on, it's positioned perfectly. If you don't need it, hide it somewhere in the car. And this is the balance what we are running here. You have your low beam system, you have your high beam system. Maybe Thomas, you can also turn on at least the low beam. I don't give you the high beam here, otherwise it will be too bright. Everyone, but this is really what is our intention, to have the most efficient optical system in the right position to give you really a safe journey anytime as soon as it's going dark outside.
So obviously in the US we'll have automatic high beams as a function. Do you think we will see ADB in the US, sort of matrix functionality?
So this is still a big challenge for us, especially coming from the legal perspective. So it's not copying exactly what we are doing already since many years in the European market. Those systems are wonderful. So you just turn it on, you don't have to take care about anything. Unfortunately, the legal requirements in the US are more challenging, and we really have to work on different hardware. It's not only about changing the software and then finding a solution for the market. So we really have to reconstruct the lamps from the very first beginning. That's also the reason why we don't have it in these cars, but in the future we are working on that. Also to give you a best compromise of everything. You can do a good high beam system, compromising what's happening with low beam. Nobody would appreciate that. Nobody would expect this from Audi. Audi is giving you the most premium light functionality, and that's the reason why it still takes some time from us, but we are on a very good way and will present something about that.
So one day soon, perhaps through this car's life cycle, we will have...
Definitely. There will be a facelift.
Yeah. Okay. You got to leave something in the future. In terms of functionality of the lighting for the European market, we still have a large amount of European viewers who, are going to be looking at Avant and some other things. What are some of the main functions you can do with the headlights here?
So here it's just a really classic matrix system. It's very good applied. So you have, if you activate it, you have this theater effect, and you have a very good, let's say, deglaring. You're creating a good tunnel in your high beam if any car is coming against you. This car does not have the digital matrix light, so the projection of light carpet, orientation light, which we have in our C and D segment cars. But also there we are working to bring these technology into these cars because our customers, they are looking for that.
Yeah.
Because it's way more safe traveling on the highway when you have this light carpet in front of you. And this is what we have to prepare in the future.
But of course, those vehicles cost significantly more. That's another level above this particular
The second
one.
task we have to bring down the cost by creating more volume.
Yeah, there we go. So buy some Audis. Let's show everyone the back if you don't mind. So down the side of the car, there's not much going on from a lighting perspective. You do have turn signals located in the mirror as well.
Right.
But in the back, this is where things get really special, I think.
Absolutely. You already activated one of our functions, which is a proximity indication.
Oh,
so
yeah.
as soon as you're getting too close and the car is ready to drive, this is giving you a little bit of an optical feedback. Hey, you might be in a dangerous area as soon as I back off in your direction. So you better step back.
Yeah.
You get out of the sensors.
Yeah, okay.
And then, of course, our lovely design is coming back. So what we can activate here is quite simple. Parking distance sensor is recognizing not only cars behind you, but also pedestrians, cyclists, or whatever. So as soon as you're getting close enough that the car is recognizing your presence, all the OLEDs are being lit up, giving you an optical feedback. Hey, you might be in a dangerous situation. And if you step back and getting out of the sensors, everything is back to normal.
That is pretty fascinating. So in the US, will this one be activated?
Once more, steady burning.
Yeah. So we can't do any of the crazy functions in the US, but
no, not while driving. So long as the car is parking and you get locking or unlocking, you have this very nice welcome scenarios and goodbye scenarios, but everything else, unfortunately, is not allowed in the US at the moment.
So the benefits of using OLED, of course, is you can vary the light output for each individual area. It almost looks 3D-ish from my perspective. If you go like half brightness on one, it looks farther behind.
Exactly. If you step back a little bit, because now we have exactly the proximity indication that you see here. So you can really influence the level of activation of each of these triangles. So we don't have a holographic foil or to really go 3D in folding some polymers. You can just do this easily by creating different lit up states in the OLED itself. It's totally planar, it's like a glass plate, super flat, but you can create this crazy effect. Yeah.
And the power consumption of OLED?
It's perfect, not too bad.
Okay.
So in the end, the strip you see underneath is an LED. So to bring an LED into an, let's say, more area, lit up area, you need to have optical systems. So optical systems which are scattering light. And scattering light means that not all of the light is going on the outside, it's kept inside.
Sure.
This is the difference in the front. You love the OLED because it's a point light source. You can put light on the road. On the rear, you want to have it distributed homogeneously on the trunk or on the rear of the car. And this is perfect for the OLED because you're already creating the light in the area. And that's intrinsically more efficient.
Yeah, you're using all the power is going to visible light, which is really cool. Also, we have some lit up Audi badges in the back. Yeah, that's cool.
We're starting with that.
Okay, nice. And then in the US market, let's just run, one thing I forgot to mention up front was we'll have the lit up Audi badge in the front of the US cars.
Yes.
And what is the idea behind this one? So when the Audi comes flying up, people get out of the way, or it's
it's all about branding. You know, if you look in the rear screen, it's not only the daytime running light. But if you, on the other hand, you need this at least in the Chinese market and in the European market to have it legal that it's being lit up. It's all about positioning lighting. Positioning lighting is demanding. Positioning lamp here and here has to be bridged by a light source, and that's the reason why you see so many cars now having the strips in the front. That's the only reason why we're doing that.
It must be so incredibly complicated to build a global vehicle because each market has their own.
Unfortunately. You know, on the other hand, you have so many possibilities now because the lighting technology is giving you so many options, but regulation is still a little bit behind. So it's more like a traditional light source. And now we really have to balance. So what are the possibilities we see now in the new lighting technology to provide a benefit for driving? We are here for giving you a safe travel at night. we're not here to be a disco ball. So
Sure.
this is really something we have to respect. But there are options, there are possibilities. And this is really what we are working out with all the governments, with legislation, to showing them the possibilities and balancing that out. That's the Audi way to develop light.
Do you think everyone will ever come to an agreement on what lighting which should be in every market?
As long as I'm living, I don't know.
Well,
possibly, but I don't believe this will happen.
but honestly, we have to say a big thank you to you and your team. You do incredible work. We have been talking about Audi headlights for years and years, and so it's really cool to meet you because we always admire your work on the road.
Right.
So
we missed out one big thing.
Oh.
The active digital light signature.
Okay.
You want to see that?
Yes, let's see it. Let's see it.
Getting close to Knight Rider.
Yeah, okay, so this is where things get pretty spicy then.
So in the end, if you look on all of the OLEDs, you see that every
cool.
triangle has some kind of dynamics.
Yep.
So all of them is being lit up and lit down in a very homogeneous way. There is a dedicated algorithm behind that to always keep the overall light value constant. So this is really the trick, because otherwise we are not allowed while driving to do something. And by this algorithm, we have a constant light value. And that's the reason why we are allowed to use that while driving in the European market.
What about China? Can you do this in China? No, really. So it is
Not yet.
so market
Not
specific.
yet, but they will see it and they will take it.
Of course, the Chinese will be like, that's cool, allowed.
This will happen. So this was the last big thing. So that's it. I don't have more today.
But this was pretty incredible. Thank you
Was
so much
great.
for
It was a
taking the
pleasure.
time. It was really, really
Take
great
care.
to meet you.
Absolutely.
And thanks for joining.
See you next
Great.
time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I'm now in the connected car. I can show you the navigation route planning. So we are in Munich, and I'm going to put in, this is the one I did Lisbon earlier. So let's do Lisbon, town center, boom, watch this. Watch this. This is crazy. Routes being calculated. This is like a 2,000 kilometer trip. It shows 475 kilowatt charger. Holy smokes. And there we go. We're already calculated. Those are all the charging stops that we're going to hit, which is pretty incredible. So you can see 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 30 minutes, and it's all 350 kilowatt. One 285 kilowatt charger. It says we're going to charge from 10 to 58% at that particular one. Wow, this is awesome. So to me, I'm really impressed overall. This is 10 to 80 in 23 minutes. Technically, the car is rated from 10% to 80% in 21 minutes is the official rating, but wow, pretty freaking awesome. A couple other things. This one's also loaded with some other applications from the Google Play Store. So if I come over here to the apps page and come down, you can see there's beach buggy racing, karaoke, Spotify that you can load in, which is awesome. And then there's also, you know, you can get YouTube in here as well if you want to. This is the passenger display, just so you guys can see it. You have controls of pretty much the same applications where I can come over here and adjust some charging functions. Nope, not that screen, I guess. I thought I could do some charging stuff. But anyway, you definitely have settings, you have navigation, you can play games, watch YouTube, have Spotify, and just have a really nice extra display here. And again, view all the same route planning stuff. This is why I like this thing. This would actually make a pretty damn good cannonball car, wouldn't it? Yep, pretty amazing, pretty cool. Really liking this one. And you can see the charge target to 100%. We'll set it down to 80. So auxiliary air conditioner. I think that's just if you leave the car. Yep, you can leave climate on, basically, is all that says. So cool stuff. There's some extra functionality for you in the system. Hey guys, it's Future Kyle. I am not a good reviewer of design. Of course, I have my own preferences, my own likes and dislikes, but I'm not a car designer from a visual standpoint. And thankfully, I have a video from the actual designer of this car to present his design interpretations to you. Now, I'm putting this towards the end of the video. I think it's interesting. The car is actually leaked online, so I've seen some responses to the car already, and a lot of people are like, hey, that doesn't look so good. My opinion, again, I'm not a good reviewer of design. I thought it looked great. I was actually like, an A6 just needs to blend in. This is a business class sedan competing against i5 and Mercedes EQE. To me, it looks great. I love the lift back in the back. You know, the Avant looks amazing. So I guess a lot of people just don't like new design, new change, all those things. Maybe the grille is throwing some people off. I don't know. I actually think especially in person, really liked it, thought it seemed high quality. But let me play the couple-minute clip from the designer so he can share his impressions with you on the A6 Sportback and Avant.
My name is Sascha Heide. I'm a team lead for the exterior design at Audi Design. And today I'm going to present to you the all-new Audi A6 Sportback E-Tron and the all-new Audi A6 Avant E-Tron. Basically, the whole design of the A6 is a very big revolutionary step. We're asking ourselves, does it have to look electric? How much it has to look electric? How it's going to change the overall volume, the overall appearance, the overall layout of the whole package? So if you start at the front, for instance, it's immediately speaking electric. You see our so-called inverted face. And the cool thing is that we actually hide some light functions in these masks. And this gave us the opportunity to create the slimmest headlights we ever had done so far in Audi. Coming to the side, the car is like really well proportioned. We play around with volumes. We have a bold body and we have like super nicely modeled, sculptured, almost monolithic looking quattro shoulders. So the power on all four wheels is like really differently interpreted. And the main key elements I would definitely describe for the Sportback, this nice roof silhouette, which ends up in a very elegant spoiler tail. In terms of the Avant e-tron, also the roof line in combination with a very fast forward sloping C-pillar, what also the former C2 Audi 100 had. And these two features we took over into the A6 e-tron to give it the appropriate, unique Avant character. Coming to the rear, there's a lot of things which are very aerodynamically driven. So for instance, the rear spoiler is very elegant, sporty looking. We have functional diffuser, which is really important for the low drag coefficient to even extend the range. And then it's underlined in its width by its super wide light bar, which is actually able to configure like 3D light signature graphics. Everything what we actually wanted, we were able to achieve. So thanks a lot to the package and the engineers, and this is fun for us designers to just translate this into a real model.
Well, there you go, guys. A full in-depth look at the new Audi A6 e-tron, both in Sportback and Avant trim, and of course, all the technical information about the S6. We haven't driven it yet. That's next. I can't wait to do that. But some of the things here I'm really loving. The extremely fast route planning, the interior quality feels really nice. Driver assistance functionality I'm liking. I wish it did auto lane changes, but other than that, seems really great as well. So many different driver warnings and interactions. And I think Audi kind of nailed this car. It does what an A6 needs to do. It needs to be comfortable and small enough to fit in a parking space while also being fit to do the long distance drive across the country. And with high range and high charging performance, this is really going to be a road tripper. So props to Audi. I really like the PPE platform in this sort of low floor design compared to the SUVs that it's premiered on. And I can't thank you guys enough for watching this video. And I leave you now. Can't wait to drive this thing. Looks like fall in Europe, start of production is when you'll be able to start to order them, not until spring or summer of 2025 in the US. So it'll be some time until you see these on the streets in America. So don't get too excited, but if you're a European viewer, start to get excited and only order the Avants. Don't get this one if you live in Europe. If you have the opportunity to get the Wagon, buy the Wagon. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in another one again soon. Bye-bye.